Okay, welcome to the Space to Think online resources. And their purpose is to help you embed and deepen your understanding of the work that you would have started with Jonathan and when you met for a couple of days in August. So one thing that we do find is that if you don't practice coaching skills and coaching habits, they are likely to disappear. And we revert back to our habitual ways of maybe fixing problems for other people or telling other people what to do. So the purpose of these resources is just to help you just to, I suppose, deepen and embed your coaching practice. And when you get into the program, you should see a place where you can click on the Taking a Coaching Approach to Leading and Learning in Schools. And once you've clicked on that, on the right-hand side, you'll have something that asks you to enter the course. If you do that, you can go through in a linear stages through the different sections, or if you just scroll down, you'll be able to see the different topics and what we're calling focuses within that. Now, some of these will be a bit of a summary of what Jonathan did. So the essence of coaching, we'll pick up on what is coaching and maybe some of that thinking you did about what's your habitual sort of natural style. But there are some bits that we really want you to look at a bit more detail. The first of those is in the key skills section. I'd like you to go and have a look at more detail about the section that talks about questioning. Lots of people in coaching, especially when they're starting out, will ask, how do I create a toolbox, a box of questions? I want this list of questions that I can draw from. And a lot of those come from just practice. We just try them out and we learn the questions that work. But actually, there are some guiding principles around those questions. So I'd invite you to go into the questioning section, and there's a video to watch that talks about 3 different approaches to using questions. So that's one section that we need you to finish. And when you finish it, you just click on complete and we'll see that you completed it. Now, the other sort of section, one of the other sections that we want you to look at is in the bringing structure. There are a couple of different models that you might want to try. There's the GROW model, which you'll have done with Jonathan. There's some solution focused and appreciative and coaching for those of you interested in maybe additional models. But the bit we really want you to look at is this: your approach to difficult conversations and the STEP model. Quite often when we're using coaching as an approach within our management and our leadership, we might need to be setting the purpose of a conversation. And that might be around performance. It might be about a dissidence in terms of organizational expectations and organizational behavior or outcomes. So you as a manager or someone who has some responsibility for performance is starting the conversation. You're saying, this is what we want to talk about. And actually, but what I'm going to do is take a coaching approach. So those 2 bits are really important for you to work through. The first one, more about your personal approach to what might be seen as conflict or difficult conversations, challenging conversations, and how you might adapt that. And then the second bit, the STEP model, is a bit like GROW model. It's got 4 stages to it, and I show on the video how STEP and GROW can work together for you to have challenging conversations, but also using a coaching approach so that ownership and for what happens stays with the other person. And another section that we would like you to have a look at is in the learning styles and personality types. This is just helping you to think about the reality that different people learn differently. You know this, your teachers, but sometimes we forget. And different staff members, different team members will work differently. They will respond better to different types of questions, different approaches. So we'd like you to go and have a look at, you could have a look at all 3 if you wanted to, but primarily we're interested in getting you to look at the activist, reflector, and theorist and pragmatist. So that's Honey Mumford's model. And just to start to consider, how does that impact your coaching approach? The next bit is tools for coaching. Now, one of these tools, the scaling, I've seen used lots and lots in schools. You'll recognize it a little bit, but scaling using a scale of 1 to 10, sometimes quite colorful scale in coaching, can be really helpful. You may have done a bit of this with Jonathan. So just going to ask you to just read through those different models and maybe just those tools and maybe experiment with them. just try using them. I've seen people with the scales having like big scaling things on their classroom wall and using it with children, or people having floor mats with it on. So it can be quite a creative sort of process. So those are the four tools. After you've done those tools, there are a couple of other sections that we just need you to focus on. And one of those is about feedback within coaching. So how and where might you use feedback? And then the final one, which you can't see because it's underneath my picture there, is barriers within coaching. Trying to understand the things that might get in us and others and the organization that may get in the way of the coaching. And then the final section you'll need to look at is in the assignments. So for the leading and learning, and it is quite straightforward. We're asking you to do 4 hours worth of recording or like a diary of the coaching that you're doing. And that could be formal or informal. So a cup of coffee over the photocopier, or it could be a planned meeting, and doing your reflections around your style and your learning. And then a little bit of a personal statement that will sort of capture your learning and about your approach using coaching. So if you have any questions about that, please email me. It's rob.husband@spacetothink.org. So that's rob.husband@spacetothink.org. Harry also has my email if you need that. And I will be in contact with you because we'll be doing some triad work where you'll be practicing this and I'll be giving you some feedback.